Former player Ron Harper was asked if he expected both of his sons to make the NBA, and his response had both of them shocked.
I'm not LeBron James. I'm not going to tell my kids what they have to do. I just want them to play and enjoy the game and whatever.
Ronnie James, he's 7 for 28 in 4 preseason games from the field. He's 2 for 13, I believe, from three-point range. He's got 8 assists and 8 turnovers. He's moving into year 2. This guy is not an NBA player.
You know, when it comes to basketball, it's the greatest accomplishment that I've ever had. Done it all as an individual, but there's no greater accomplishment that would be able to overtake me being on the same floor as my son. So
I'm not LeBron James. I'm not going to tell my kids what they have to do. I just want them to
The 2026 NBA All-Star Weekend just served us something way more entertaining than the actual game itself. And no, we're not talking about Kawhi Leonard going absolutely nuclear on the court. Oh, a winner. He is scorching. We're talking about Ron Harper casually obliterating LeBron James with one perfectly executed verbal kill shot that's got the entire basketball world talking. I'm not LeBron James. I'm not going to tell my kids what they have to do. Let's set the stage here. It's All-Star Weekend in San Francisco. The Harper family, Ron Sr., Ron Jr., and the electrifying 19-year-old rookie Dylan Harper just competed in the Shooting Stars competition. They're sitting at the podium doing the standard media availability thing. Reporters are lobbing softballs. Everyone's relaxed. The boys are clowning their old man about missing layups, standard family banter, right? Then someone asks Ron Sr. a simple question. When Dylan and Ron Jr. were born, did you see them becoming NBA players? Did you dream of this moment? And that's when Ron Harper dropped an absolute nuke. I'm not no James. I'm not going to tell my kids what they have to do. The disrespect, the precision, the absolute surgical nature of that response. Ron Harper didn't just answer the question. He ethered LeBron James in front of the entire basketball world without even raising his voice. No hesitation, no filter, just pure, uncut truth delivered with the casual confidence of a man who won 5 consecutive NBA championships. And the best part, look at Dylan Harper's reaction. The 19-year-old rookie can barely contain himself. His face says everything. That's the look of a son who just watched his dad completely annihilate the biggest name in basketball with zero regard for human life. Because here's what Ron Harper just said without actually saying it: LeBron James didn't let Bronny choose his own path. LeBron made it about himself. LeBron turned his son's basketball journey into the LeBron James ego tour, dragging Bronny through the circus of manufactured legacy building and forced father-son narratives that nobody asked for. And Ron Harper, he let his sons become who they wanted to be. The contrast couldn't be more devastating. Let's talk about the Harper boys for a second. Ron Jr., he's bounced around the league a bit. He's on his 3rd team in 4 years with the Boston Celtics. Not every player becomes a superstar, and that's perfectly fine. But Dylan Harper, this kid is the real deal. Watch out, watch out. 2nd overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft, behind only Cooper Flagg. 19 years old, already averaging 11 points per game for a San Antonio Spurs team that's absolutely terrifying right now. The Spurs have the 3rd best record in the NBA. They're only 2 games behind Oklahoma City for the number 1 seed. They've beaten the Thunder 3 times already this season. Victor Wembanyama, Chris Paul running the offense, and now Dylan Harper developing into a legitimate weapon. This team is built for a deep playoff run. And Dylan Harper earned his spot on merit, not because his dad hijacked an organization. Now, let's pivot to the LeBron and Bronny situation, because this is where things get absolutely ugly. LeBron James spent years telling anyone with ears that he would definitely, absolutely, 100% play with one of his sons in the NBA. He made it his mission, his destiny, his legacy. And when the time came, he forced the Los Angeles Lakers, a franchise with 17 championships, with a legacy built by Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal, to draft Bronny James with the 55th pick overall in 2024. You know, when it comes to basketball, it's the greatest accomplishment that I've ever had. Done it all as an individual, But there's no greater accomplishment that would overtake me being on the same floor as my son. Bronny James, a kid who was realistically around the 100th ranked prospect in college basketball. A player who had no business being drafted that high. A young man who, by all accounts, should have spent more time developing his game before entering the league. But LeBron wanted his moment. LeBron wanted his crowning achievement. So the Lakers complied, and now we're watching the slow-motion train wreck. 56 games played across 2 seasons. Bronny James is averaging 2.2 points per game on 35% shooting from the field, 2.2 points per game. He's getting humiliated night after night, and not because he's a bad kid or lacks work ethic, but because he was thrust into a situation he wasn't ready for, because his father needed another trophy for his ego shelf. He may not have the leverage to get Bryce into the NBA, and I do think that was his plan. He may not have the leverage to keep Bronny in the NBA. And I know Bronny's got this contract, and if he sticks with the Lakers maybe it's inevitable. But if LeBron ever has to really force his way out, that may be the end of Bronny's career. And LeBron, he's out here calling it his greatest accomplishment. The first father-son duo to play together in an NBA game. 4 NBA championships, 4 MVPs, all-time leading scorer, 2 Olympic gold medals. But playing with Bronny, watching his son struggle through 2.2 points per game on terrible efficiency while the entire basketball world cringes. I wanted him to get the steal and keep going. He was throwing it down. Such a good person. This isn't about Bronny's accomplishments. It never was. This has always been about LeBron, about his narrative, about his story, about making sure that when people talk about the greatest moments in NBA history, LeBron James gets mentioned one more time. That one right there made me the greatest player of all time. I'm GOAT, bro dirty. Ron Harper saw through that immediately, and when given the opportunity, he took the shot. The beauty of Harper's comment is in its simplicity. He didn't need to go on a rant. He didn't need to explain himself. He just drew the line in the sand. I'm not LeBron James. I didn't force my kids into a predetermined destiny. I let them be themselves, and the results speak for themselves. Dylan Harper is thriving in San Antonio. He's learning from one of the best organizations in basketball history. He's developing his game alongside generational talents. He's earning his minutes, his respect, his place in the league. Nobody's questioning whether Dylan belongs. Nobody's writing think pieces about nepotism or legacy manipulation. Dylan Harper is there because he's good. Period. He's got too many tricks. His bag is too deep. Meanwhile, Bronny James is a constant source of debate, scrutiny, and second-hand embarrassment. Is it fair to him? Absolutely not. But that's what happens when your father turns your career into a vanity project. Here's the thing that really stings for LeBron. Ron Harper wasn't even trying to be disrespectful. He was just answering a question honestly. I'm GOAT, bro dirty. What are you talking about? Ron Harper saw through that immediately, and when given the opportunity, he took the shot. The beauty of Harper's comment is in its simplicity. He didn't need to go on a rant. He didn't need to explain himself. He just drew the line in the sand. I'm not LeBron James. I didn't force my kids into a predetermined destiny. I let them be themselves. And the results speak for themselves. Dylan Harper is thriving in San Antonio. He's learning from one of the best organizations in basketball history. He's developing his game alongside generational talents. He's earning his minutes, his respect, his place in the league. Nobody's questioning whether Dylan belongs. Nobody's writing think pieces about nepotism or legacy manipulation. Dylan Harper is there because he's good. Period. He's got too many tricks. His bag is too deep. Euro. Meanwhile, Bronny James is a constant source of debate, scrutiny, and second-hand embarrassment. Is it fair to him? Absolutely not. But that's what happens when your father turns your career into a vanity project. Here's the thing that really stings for LeBron. Ron Harper wasn't even trying to be disrespectful. He was just answering a question honestly, but honesty, when contrasted this sharply with LeBron's approach, becomes the ultimate insult. LeBron has spent his entire career controlling narratives. He orchestrated the decision. He formed super teams in Miami. He returned to Cleveland with championship expectations. He's posted cryptic Instagram messages, thrown teammates under the bus, and demanded trades that reshaped franchises. Everything is calculated. Everything is about the LeBron brand. But Ron Harper, 5-time NBA champion, starting point guard for the second three-peat Bulls, key contributor to Shaq and Kobe's first 2 Lakers championships, the man finished his career with 5 consecutive NBA titles and never once demanded the spotlight. He did his job, won his rings, and raised his kids with humility and respect. That's the difference. That's why Harper's comment landed like a cruise missile. And speaking of LeBron controlling narratives, let's talk about his All-Star Weekend press conference. The man who loves talking about himself, who will gladly discuss his greatness at any opportunity, who shows up to events with live goats and throws crowns on his head, suddenly got annoyed when asked about his playing future. I want to know when you guys know. I don't know. I have no idea. I just want to live, that's all. Oh, LeBron just wants to live. Poor guy. Can't handle one question about next season. Too invasive, too personal. Just let him exist in peace. This is the same man who orchestrated an entire ESPN special to announce where he'd play basketball, the same guy who literally trademarked Taco Tuesday, the same player who posts workout videos with dramatic music and inspirational quotes every off-season. But one question about his future, that's crossing the line. The hypocrisy is staggering. Ron Harper's comment exposed everything wrong with the LeBron James approach to fatherhood and legacy. It revealed the fundamental difference between letting your children forge their own paths and forcing them into the roles you want them to play. Dylan Harper gets to be Dylan Harper. Bronny James will forever be LeBron's son, and that's the tragedy here. Bronny might have had a completely different career trajectory if his father hadn't made everything about manufacturing a historic moment. Maybe Bronny develops in the G League for a few years. Maybe he works on his game overseas. Maybe he becomes a solid role player on his own timeline. But we'll never know, because LeBron needed his legacy moment right now. Ron Harper didn't need that. His legacy was secure: 5 championships, a 15-year career, multiple 20-point-per-game seasons, played alongside Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. He had nothing left to prove. So when his sons showed basketball talent, he simply encouraged them, supported them, and let them grow. And now Dylan Harper is a legitimate NBA talent on a contender, and Ron Jr. continues his journey in the league. The 2026 All-Star Weekend will be remembered for a lot of things, but nothing will top Ron Harper's perfectly delivered, completely justified verbal decimation of everything wrong with the LeBron and Bronny situation. Welcome to the modern NBA, where sometimes the most devastating moments don't happen on the court. They happen at a press conference, delivered by a 5-time champion who simply chose to tell the truth. Ron Harper, Father of the Year, truth teller extraordinaire, and the man who just reminded everyone that real legacy is about what you build, not what you force. LeBron James just got schooled, and the teacher didn't even need to break a sweat.